Tonight, counterfeit crackdown. Whyalla police warning residents to be on the lookout for fake cash. And the town of Tumby Bay cheering a local boy through the AFL finals.
This is Southern Cross News with Fraser Goldsworthy.
Good evening. Whyalla police are urging residents to check their cash after counterfeit notes were discovered at a number of local businesses. They say there's a few simple steps that can be taken to find out whether our money is the real deal.
These banknotes may look similar, but for one of them, the price isn't right.
A number of counterfeit $50 notes were used at shops and local food outlets across Whyalla. Between the 5th and the 9th of September.
Hungry Jack's, Pizza Hut, Coles and a local deli were all targeted by the scam. Police say it's a serious issue, as those businesses are now victims of crime.
These are quite destructive to businesses, but also members of the public. If you end up with one of these in your pocket, you then become a victim of crime.
But there are key differences between the two. The fake notes are made of paper and lack the clear strip near the edge of the bill, and also contain other markings. They also sound different in your hand.
They don't move the same way, and they don't have a lot of the security features that Australian banknotes have.
While police are pursuing leads, they ask anyone with information to get in touch.
We would ask you to please call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
For more information on how to spot dodgy notes, head to our Facebook page. John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
An interim report into the management of the Murray-Darling River system is calling for an urgent improvement to compliance. A recent inquiry into the alleged maladministration of the Barwon-Darling rivers has revealed a failure in the current system.
After being delayed twice, the report into New South Wales water management and compliance was finally handed down to the Department of Industry. The report is the result of an inquiry, which was set up after revelations of alleged water theft from cotton farmers from the Barwon-Darling rivers back in July. The report said a systemic fix is required.
But what we do have now is a very clear plan and a clear set of recommendations from Mr Matthews for us to continue to address these areas so that we can give confidence for the environment, confidence for the communities on those rivers, and confidence to our producers that have done the right thing.
It also recommends a water management compliance improvement package. That would include establishing a new state natural resources access regulator, which would make decisions on handling serious offences, and also introduce a no metering and no pumping rule to ensure all irrigators install pumps and do away with self-reported logbooks, among other improvements. The report mandates any future system would need to be more transparent and independent.
And the government's job is to get on and implement the recommendations as quickly as possible so that we can not have anyone else to be in this position into the future.
The state's top water bureaucrat Gavin Hanlon has also been stood down and will face misconduct allegations. A recording revealed Mr Hanlon allegedly offered to help irrigators undermine the Murray-Darling Basin Plan.
We will implement some of the short-term recommendations immediately. We will bring to a conclusion some of the cases identified, and an investigation team is moving on and providing that gathering of evidence.
The interim report is available on the Department of Industry website. Patrick Roenke, Southern Cross News.
A working group has been established to determine if land north of Hawker could be used for radioactive waste. It's one of 3 sites the Department of Industry is considering in SA.
The federal government has been seeking a site to store low-level radioactive waste for years. Residents in the town of Hawker believe a waste facility on Wallabadina station land could be the answer to the search. They also see it as an opportunity for local work.
If we can get enough people into the town through employment, that we get another teacher into our town, another nurse at our school. It's just a win-win situation.
Ian Carpenter and Malcolm McKenzie are leading an economic working group which will now meet to determine community support and what can be gained if the facility went ahead.
And we're going to be strongly working together how we're going to maximise leverage opportunities in around Hawker and that area. Well, both Aboriginal people and non-Aboriginal people.
They believe a job-creating project of this scale would encourage Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal communities to work together.
I think we're in a good position. Our story It's about creating jobs in our region. For the first time, I can say, non-Aboriginal people and working together for the same outcome.
Mr Carpenter believes the facility could also be an opportunity for tourism jobs.
From this, we can take tours out, which will employ young people.
The Department of Industry's Head of Resources says the group will play a key role in the consultation process.
We forget to understand or underestimate the level of opportunity for a community like Hawker, and I believe this economic working group will be best placed to identify those opportunities.
Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
While Port Adelaide supporters were left in despair over the weekend, one South Australian family rejoiced in West Coast's historic win. Tumby Bay local Amanda Partington watched her son Luke anxiously as West Coast defeated Port after the siren.
It was the moment that sunk hearts of Power supporters across the state. But it was pure ecstasy for one South Aussie export.
When that goal went through, we were pretty stoked and we were running straight out there to celebrate with the boys.
Bull magnet Luke Partington has played every game for West Coast since his debut this year. Saturday night's blockbuster against Port was his first back in Adelaide since he was drafted 2 years ago.
To be able to play a game in Adelaide, especially a final, was amazing, and for my family to be able to be there and experience the game.
Luke's mother Amanda making the journey over to cheer him on, but he knew his hometown of Tumby Bay was also watching on, backing his every move.
The community's been an amazing support for our family for the last few years, but particularly Luke with his football, they've just been behind him.
Luke's journey has been a difficult one after tragically losing his father Brian during a mining accident just days before he was drafted. His dad played a big role in his development, coaching Luke from a young age.
He's a massive driving factor for me and keeps me getting through and striving to improve and get better, and I always reflect and he'd be super proud.
It's tough not having Brian here to see the great things that he's achieved. He would be so proud.
Luke now nervously awaits team selection to see if he'll be picked in the final against GWS. Regardless of a decision, he knows his family and his town will be by his side.
That's my home, that's where I grew up, so it's always really nice to get back there.
Mum, I'm just very proud, yeah.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
Still to come in tonight's local news, the mammoth task to transport tons of steel from Port Augusta's decommissioned power station. Details next. Welcome back. Broken Hill Police say they're working with the local community to help fight crime in the region after a crime stats report was released, showing increases in a number of major offences.
Any spike in crime is unacceptable.
Over the last 12 months, we certainly have seen a rise in property crime across the Silver City, which is unfortunate and something we certainly want to get onto.
A new report from the New South Wales Bureau of Crime Statistics highlights a number of different crimes have risen in the past year. Dwelling break-ins are up by 75%, steal from motor vehicles is up by 46%, and malicious damage to property is up by almost 37%.
What didn't help those statistics, we had a remarkably good year the year before. However, we've fallen away to figures this 12 months that we were getting a few years back.
Police say over the past 5 years, local officers have worked hard to tackle crime in the region, and it's only a small percentage of people making the bad decisions.
We saw some escapees here for a period of only about 48 hours from the Northern Territory. They caused havoc over that period of time. We've had other offenders working in groups and singularly.
One positive though, the number of domestic violence assaults down from last year, a drop of 15%. The report card from the Broken Hill weekend is in two. The majority of partygoers had a fun and responsible time. A few wrongdoers were caught with small amounts of cocaine, cannabis and ice, and 4 motorists were caught drink driving.
All in all, it was a great weekend for the city, and I congratulate those who came to the city, had a good time, and our locals, and behaved themselves and just had a good time and a safe time.
Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Port Augusta residents may soon see more trucks on the roads. Engineering company McMahon Services is currently undertaking the mammoth task of hauling parts from the Alinta power station to Port Pirie before they're shipped across the world.
50,000 tonnes of steel that once made up a power station has to go somewhere, and it's requiring a truckload of manpower.
We've got about 6 trucks running between Port Augusta and Port Pirie at the moment, and we're shifting somewhere around about 500 tonne a day.
Commuters on the Augusta Highway can be assured the trucks won't be taking up the whole road.
No, they're all standard gauge trucks that you'd see on the road every day. We have one B double and one road train, and the balance of the trucks are single configurations.
Flinders Power's Program Director says the metal transport for the shipment will be done in waves.
Effectively, when we have a shipment booked in at Port Pirie, that we need to haul all the material down there ready for shipping out. So we've nearly got enough at Port Pirie in now, ready for the shipment.
The scrap metal's being cut on site for shipment by a Copex machine and the PC4000.
It's a designed from scratch shear. It's the biggest shear in the world, and it's got a fair bit of power, and we're using it to cut a lot of the large beams and things that are part of the power station.
The company says they'll be conducting 5 shipments over the next year, with workers benefiting local business.
We've got quite a lot of people staying here and eating in the local restaurants and utilising accommodation and stuff like that.
Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
The Eyre Peninsula's famous Coffin Bay oysters have featured in a YouTube video that's gone viral. The seafood delicacy was featured in a video by pop culture website BuzzFeed, showcasing Australian seafood at different price points. Participants in the video visit Sydney's fish market to get a taste of the Aussie oysters. Our own Coffin Bay received high praise, along with Sydney's rock oysters. The video has nearly 4 million hits, which it received in just 36 hours. When we return after the break, Port Pirie's Rotary Club looks to fund breakfast clubs at local schools. Details next. Welcome back. 6 eager Port Lincoln locals have been nominated to battle it out to be crowned next year's Tunarama Ambassador. The candidates will now drum up support in the community for their chosen charities.
It's one of Port Lincoln's top shelf social events. The Tunarama Ambassador Sashing debuts candidates on their path towards the 2018 festival.
The person who becomes ambassador will represent Port Lincoln for the remainder of next year.
The 6 entrants frocked up for the affair as they made a speech in front of their chosen charities explaining why they should be crowned. Quest entrant Chantel Locke has a special bond with her cause, the Royal Flying Doctor Service, saving her mother's life.
We get to see how much input they've had and the endless work they do.
But this year, Tunarama is invigorating old traditions by allowing the girls to let their hair down.
Not focus solely on the fundraising. We're trying to make the quest a lot more fun this year.
This year will also feature Tunarama's youngest entrant, Abby, making her debut at 16.
It's about creating a good bond with each other and having a good time and getting involved with the community.
The girls will now hit the town promoting the event and their charities before the festival begins in January.
Make it a memorable Tunarama. Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
The Rotary Club of Port Pirie is looking to put a stop to children turning up to school with empty stomachs. A golf day will be held this month to raise funds to go towards supporting breakfast clubs in local schools.
Sending kids to school with a full stomach.
It's really important for kids to have a healthy breakfast to assist in their development.
Teachers say it'll improve classroom interactivity and students' willingness to learn, thanks to the good nutrition provided through the breakfast clubs.
We all know how important is a decent breakfast in the morning, so the kids can come along and actually go into the classrooms with a full stomach. That'll certainly help their learning.
The club is hoping to raise $6,000 to be spent across 2 years at multiple schools, in hopes of having clubs running every day of the school week.
These 6 schools, both secondary schools and primary schools, will receive a share of the funds that we raise on the day.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Turning to sport now, and Railways are the top dog of Port Augusta netball after defeating the Vikings in the grand final on Saturday. It's the team's second premiership in 3 seasons as they swept aside a spirited opposition. John Hunt joins us with more now, and John, the minor premier proved itself to be the best team in the town.
They did, Fraser. Railways had only lost 4 games all year, but Vikings had the momentum after upsetting St Joseph's in the preliminary final last week. But there was to be no fairy tale, with the favourites cruising to victory. The 45-33 win was sweet for Railways, as it avenged its 3-goal loss to St Joseph's in last year's decider. In Port Lincoln, Winilla Rangers were too good for South United in their preliminary final, defeating United 54-43 and booking a date with Waybacks in the grand final this Saturday. And over in Northern Areas netball, Broad and Mundura have made the grand final after a 9-goal win over Southern Flinders in its prelim final. The team will face a tough task in Orroroo, who in its 4th consecutive grand final is chasing their 3rd premiership in a row. Let's turn to soccer now, where the season is wrapping up across the region. Wilders Association Cup began on the weekend with an elimination final, where Lions had a comfortable 6-3 win over Wanderers. Lions will now play Croatia for a spot in the final, with Steel to host Westlands in the other semi-final. Savoy's amateur league season has finished on a sour note, thrashed 6-1 by Manopara on Sunday afternoon. The team's been relegated to Division 3 in 2018, collecting just 6 points from 18 matches. In Port Lincoln, Seckle Masters drew with Lincoln Knights, while South Coast thrashed the Raiders. Seckle will play South Coast in the Cup final this Sunday. And finally, some Broken Hill tennis with 2 tight matches last week. Backhand had a 2-point win over the Drop Shots, while the Volleys defeated the Swallows by the slimmest of margins. So there you have it, Fraser. Finals are in the air as the best of the best battle out for Premiership glory. Footy tips for Port Lincoln and the Spencer Golf are back on Friday. But for now, it's back to you.
Thank you, John. John Hunt with our sports wrap there. Do stay with us. After the break, a check of the local weather. Welcome back to the weather now. A warm one across the region today. 31 the top in Port Augusta, 30 in Whyalla as well, 28 in Broken Hill and Port Pirie, 23 in Adelaide. To the satellite, clouds spreading over parts of the east with a low pressure trough, and a cold front is causing rain and showers. Patchy cloud with a front is crossing southern parts of the west, resulting in some light rain. On the Gulf waters, winds will be southwesterly 20 to 30 knots, seas just over a metre. Sunrise just before 6:30, sunset at 6:08. A wet day across the region tomorrow, 18 in Port Augusta, wet and windy in Port Lincoln, 15. Some showers with winds at 2 in Port Pirie, a top of 15 as well. Mostly clear skies for Broken Hill though, a top of 18, 14 in Cleve. The wet weather will hang around for a few days in Port Lincoln, but things should fine up by Saturday. Sunny skies to end the week in Cleve and Woodner. Clear skies too for Whyalla, a top of 22 on Friday before the mercury drops slightly to 19 for the weekend. Sunny in Port Augusta, 23 on Friday, 16 on Thursday in Kadina before warming up ever so slightly to 18 on Friday. Temps will creep into the 20s as we end the week in Port Pirie, 21 on Friday. Showers will clear in Clare, 15 on Saturday. Sunny in Broken Hill, 21 across Friday and Saturday. And that is the local news for this Tuesday. Thanks for your company. Don't forget you can stay up to date on Facebook and Twitter. You can also drop us an email. I'll have updates later. Until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.